A different sort of dynasty is emerging in contemporary America. These are not built with royal crowns or ancient castles, but rather on foundations of pure determination, brilliant intellect, and a relentless ambition that knows no bounds. We are talking about the Chinese-American families who forged billion-dollar empires from the ground up, fundamentally reshaping our world in the process. From the smartphones we grip in our hands to the very silhouettes of our city skylines. For some, the journey began with nothing more than a single powerful idea. Others arrived having already achieved success in Asia, transforming that momentum into formidable power within the United States economy. Today, we are peeling back the layers on the 10 wealthiest Chinese-American families and exploring how they have silently redefined the very essence of the American dream. But before we get into the details, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss out on compelling narratives like this one. And kicking off our list at number 1 is the undisputed titan of this group, a man whose corporation has become the very engine powering the AI revolution. He has been called the Taylor Swift of tech, the one and only Jensen Huang, the co-founder and chief executive officer of Nvidia. The explosive rise of artificial intelligence has transformed Nvidia from a highly successful chip manufacturer into one of the most valuable corporations on the globe, pushing Huang's family fortune deep into the stratosphere, now estimated to be between $90 and $120 billion. Jensen's life story is so remarkable it could be a Hollywood blockbuster. Born in Taiwan in 1963, his parents sent him and his brother to the United States in pursuit of a superior education. They ended up not in Silicon Valley, but in the countryside of rural Kentucky at a boarding institution that also served as a reform school, where Jensen performed the humbling daily chore of scrubbing toilets. He was eventually reunited with his parents in Oregon, and it was in that state where his fascination with computers and video games was truly ignited. He obtained his engineering degree from Oregon State, followed by a master's at the prestigious Stanford University. Then, on his 30th birthday, in 1993, while seated in a Denny's diner with 2 companions, he outlined a dream on a simple napkin to create a chip that could render astonishingly lifelike 3D graphics for video games. That very napkin marked the birth of Nvidia. For many years, Nvidia dominated the gaming landscape. Their GPUs, or graphics processing units, produced breathtaking visuals that came to define an entire generation of video game players. Huang, frequently seen sporting his now iconic black leather jacket, became a celebrated figure in technology circles. However, behind the scenes, he envisioned something far greater. He came to understand that the same GPUs making games look beautiful could also be used to teach machines how to think. So in the 2010s, Jensen committed everything to AI, betting billions on a future that almost no one else believed was possible. Wall Street considered him reckless. But then the artificial intelligence boom arrived. The emergence of tools such as ChatGPT proved his vision correct, and almost overnight, Nvidia's chips became the most crucial equipment in the global AI gold rush. Demand detonated. Nvidia's valuation didn't just increase, it skyrocketed past the $1 trillion mark, then $2 trillion, and in the summer of 2024, it even briefly exceeded the $3 trillion mark. Jensen Huang's personal wealth grew in lockstep, positioning him among the most affluent people alive. His story is not just about immense success, it's a narrative of profound transformation. From a Taiwanese immigrant child cleaning restrooms in Kentucky to a worldwide visionary who is fueling the future of AI. Jensen Huang didn't just follow the American dream, he reprogrammed it entirely. At number 2, we find an individual who constructed his empire not with software code or concrete, but with surgical scalpels, scientific discovery, and an unwavering vision. Dr. Patrick Soon-Shiong, a surgeon scientist and entrepreneur, is a pioneer who redefined our methods for combating cancer, and in doing so, became one of the wealthiest doctors on the entire planet. With a personal fortune estimated at around $12 billion, his life story is nothing short of astounding. His is a journey from the oppressive system of apartheid in South Africa to the absolute pinnacle of American medicine. Sun Xiong was born in South Africa to Chinese parents who had escaped mainland China during the turmoil of World War II. Raised under apartheid's shadow, he was officially categorized as Chinese, caught in a system designed to suppress his ambitions. But he staunchly refused to accept those limits. By the young age of 23, he had already earned his degree from medical school and made history as one of the first non-white residents to serve at Johannesburg's General Hospital. Propelled by fierce ambition and the promise of greater opportunity, he made his way to the United States, where he accepted a position at UCLA's medical school as a transplant surgeon. However, he soon became intensely frustrated with the imprecise and brutal blast-everything method of traditional chemotherapy. He envisioned a more intelligent approach, a precision weapon capable of attacking cancer cells directly while leaving healthy cells and tissues completely untouched. Dream materialized into a tangible success. He created Abraxane, an extraordinary cancer medication that encases chemotherapy within minuscule protein nanoparticles targeting tumors directly while minimizing adverse reactions. The innovation was genuinely groundbreaking. Sun Xiong proceeded to establish his own pharmaceutical firm, Abraxis Bioscience, ultimately selling it in a series of transactions for a collective total of $9 billion. He often quips that he stumbled into his billionaire status, but Patrick Soon-Shiong was far from finished. He then founded NantWorks, a web of companies operating at the forefront of genomics AI and healthcare technology. Then, in 2018, he sent shockwaves through the media industry by acquiring the Los Angeles Times for $500 million, effectively returning one of America's most celebrated newspapers to local stewardship. And for any NBA fans listening, he is also a part owner of the LA Lakers. From medicine and tech to media and sports, Dr. Patrick Soon-Shiong's sphere of influence is expansive, chronicling the journey of a man who started as a healer and became a builder of empires. For our third entry, we transition from the surgical suite to the grand arenas of international business and the courtside celebrity. Let us introduce Joseph Tsai, the co-founder and chairman of Alibaba Group, who is more widely recognized in the United States as the proprietor of the Brooklyn Nets. With a personal fortune valued between 9.7 and 11.8 billion, Tsai is positioned at the intersection of Chinese digital commerce, American finance, and global athletics. Originally from Taipei, Taiwan, Tsai's journey in America commenced at the young age of 13 when his parents sent him to a prestigious boarding school located in New Jersey. He continued on to Yale University for both his undergraduate and law degrees before establishing himself in New York City as a formidable tax attorney. Eventually, he pivoted to private equity in Hong Kong, where he was earning a very substantial $700,000 per year. Then a pivotal moment in 1999 altered the course of his life. A fortuitous meeting with an ex-English teacher by the name of Jack Ma sent him down a completely unforeseen path. From a small crowded apartment in Hangzhou, Jack Ma articulated his ambitious dream, an online B2B marketplace to be called Alibaba. Tsai was instantly captivated. He made the bold move to leave his comfortable position and its $700,000 salary to become part of Ma's unproven startup for a mere $50 a month. This proved to be the most successful wager of his life. While Jack Ma served as the public persona of Alibaba, Joseph Tsai functioned as its structural core, the legal and financial mastermind who meticulously crafted the company's entire corporate framework from its inception. He successfully guided Alibaba through its most critical early years, a path that culminated in a record-demolishing $25 billion IPO on the New York Stock Exchange in 2014, which was the largest in history at that time. Now, with interests beyond technology, Tsai is also the owner of the WNBA's New York Liberty and continues to be an influential personality forging connections between the East and the West. Joseph Tsai embodies the quintessential global operator, appearing just as comfortable in a Silicon Valley boardroom as he is sitting courtside at the Barclays Center. He stands as a testament to the idea that sometimes the most courageous act is to step away from a life of comfort to follow your convictions. In our number 4 position, we spotlight a family who built their massive enterprise one order at a time. Let's meet Andrew and Peggy Cheung, the dynamic couple behind Panda Express, the fast casual empire that brought Americanized Chinese food to the general public. Together they have grown a single-family eatery into the premier Asian dining corporation within the United States, boasting a collective net worth of approximately $3.6 billion. Their success is a remarkable combination of heritage, hard work, and sharp intellect. Andrew Cheung emigrated to the U.S. from China in 1966. His father was an expert chef, and in 1973, Andrew and his father opened Panda Inn, a traditional sit-down establishment in Pasadena, California. Then Peggy Cheung entered the picture. Born in Burma, she relocated to the United States for her studies and earned a doctorate in electrical engineering. She had already cultivated a thriving career as a software developer when Andrew came to her with a radical idea. What if they could package their most in-demand dishes and offer them in a quick-service format Peggy consequently abandoned her engineering path to go into business with Andrew? It was a phenomenal decision. In 1983, the inaugural Panda Express opened its doors. Andrew provided the culinary expertise, but Peggy was their strategic advantage. Leveraging her engineering background and systemic thinking, she developed standardized procedures for every facet of the operation, including inventory supply lines and even gathering customer insights. The principle was that every helping of orange chicken needed to have the exact same taste, whether a customer was in California or New York. The outcome was extraordinary expansion. At present, there are more than 2,500 Panda Express locations worldwide, the majority of which are still directly owned by the Cheungs, affording them complete authority over product quality. And through their charitable organization Panda Cares, they have contributed hundreds of millions of dollars toward children's health and educational programs, prioritizing health and education. Now coming in at our 5th spot is a tale not of a dynasty, but of a bond between two men that proved absolutely unbreakable. Let us introduce you to David Sun and John Tu, the brilliant co-founders of Kingston Technology, which stands as the world's foremost independent manufacturer of memory products. This pair didn't simply launch a company. They amassed a staggering fortune, watched it all disappear, and then proceeded to build an even larger empire together. Each man now holds a net worth exceeding $11 billion, yet their narrative is truly a testament to resilience and profound loyalty. David Sun originated from Taiwan, while John Tu came from mainland China. Both individuals made their way to the U.S. during the 1970s. They first connected on a recreational basketball court, immediately formed a friendship, and soon pooled their entire savings to establish their first memory company. Named Camintin, it started from a garage. They experienced incredible success, becoming millionaires, until the catastrophic market crash of Black Monday on October 19th, 1987, completely annihilated their wealth. Most individuals would have conceded defeat, but not them. They keenly observed an opportunity in the memory chip market that had been created by the financial collapse, and from that insight, Kingston Technology was established. Tu and Sun fostered a legendary corporate culture. They worked from open cubicles among their employees, ensuring everyone was treated as part of the family. In 1996, upon selling 80% of Kingston to SoftBank for an astonishing $1.5 billion, they without hesitation allocated $100 million for their employees' bonuses. Astonishingly, 3 years later they managed to buy their company back for only $450 million, thereby reclaiming full control and continuing their domination of the market. To this day, despite their extraordinary wealth, they continue to be humble, philanthropic, and deeply devoted to their entire staff. They stand as proof that you can construct a global empire without compromising your principles. Number 6 features a man whose software transformed into a verb almost instantaneously. Eric Yuan, the founder and chief executive officer of Zoom, transitioned from being a tenacious engineer in China into a bona fide Silicon Valley billionaire. His is a story that exemplifies pure persistence in motion. Born within China's Shandong province, Yuan had a childhood dream of connecting individuals across distances. He grew weary of the lengthy train excursions to visit his girlfriend, which led him to believe that a more efficient method must exist. After being inspired by Bill Gates discussing the dot-com boom, he focused his ambitions on Silicon Valley, but gaining entry into America proved to be a significant challenge. Over a 2-year period, his visa application was denied on 8 separate occasions. Finally, on his 9th attempt, he succeeded in 1997. He then accepted a role as one of the initial engineers at WebEx, a burgeoning web conferencing startup where Yuan thrived. When Cisco purchased WebEx for $3.2 billion in 2007, he ascended to vice president of engineering. However, he began to notice a significant issue. The software had become clunky, was frustrating to operate, and was not optimized for mobile use. He presented his ideas for enhancements to the leadership, but he was turned down. So at 41 years of age, he took the path of great innovators. He resigned from his position, and an incredible 40 engineers chose to leave with him. And so Zoom was created. For many years, its expansion was consistent. But then, in 2020, the entire globe came to a halt. Abruptly, Zoom evolved into the planet's de facto virtual gathering place. Its usage rates exploded, stock values climbed astronomically, and Eric Yuan became a globally recognized name. His saga is a compelling lesson. Always listen to your clientele, tenaciously pursue your own vision, and never under any circumstances surrender. At our 7th position, we feature a true internet trailblazer, a man whose very name was once practically interchangeable with the World Wide Web itself, Jerry Yang. Alongside his family, he commands a vast fortune that is estimated to be approximately $3 billion. Forged by his position at the vanguard of the new digital frontier, Yang's personal history is a classic Silicon Valley legend. He was a brilliant immigrant youth who drafted a paradigm-shifting concept within the confines of his university dormitory. Jerry's father passed on when he was merely 2, and at the age of 10, his entire family immigrated to San Jose, California. He came to the country knowing just a single word of English, shoe, but he acquired fluency in the language with remarkable speed. He continued his education at Stanford, pursuing electrical engineering, where he would meet his eventual co-founder, David Filo. Though they were supposed to be concentrating on their PhDs, they dedicated the vast majority of their time navigating the chaotic expanse of the early internet. As a casual undertaking, they developed a simple directory system to catalog all of their most visited websites. They initially named it Jerry and David's Guide to the World Wide Web. In the untamed wilderness of the primitive web, this basic index was a groundbreaking innovation. Website traffic surged exponentially. They decided to rebrand as Yahoo, formally withdrew from Stanford, and went on to acquire financial backing. When Yahoo launched its initial public offering in 1996, Jerry was instantly elevated to billionaire status, seemingly in a single day. Of course, the journey was certainly not without its major missteps. He infamously rejected a $44.6 billion buyout proposal from Microsoft in the year 2008. It was a move that was heavily condemned after Yahoo eventually lost its dominance to the rising power of Google. Yet perhaps his most brilliant strategic decision ever was championing Yahoo's $1 billion investment in a then obscure Chinese e-commerce startup by the name of Alibaba. In the untamed digital landscape of that period, their simple directory proved to be a revolutionary idea, causing web traffic to absolutely skyrocket. They adopted the name Yahoo, departed from their studies at Stanford, procured the necessary venture capital, and prepared for their public debut in 1996. Jerry was transformed into a billionaire practically in an instant, but this is not to say that the path ahead was devoid of significant challenges. He is renowned for spurning a massive $44.6 billion acquisition offer from Microsoft in 2008, a choice that would be heavily scrutinized. This was widely criticized as Yahoo's market share was later eclipsed by Google. Still, arguably, his shrewdest act was directing Yahoo's major investment. It was a $1 billion venture into a little-known Chinese e-commerce enterprise, which at the time was called Alibaba. That was back in 2005. In retrospect, that single bet is now hailed as one of the most brilliant tech investments ever made. These days, Jerry Yang hasn't slowed down. He continues to influence the tech landscape through his venture capital firm, AME Cloud Ventures, by backing promising startups such as Zoom and Evernote, demonstrating that his Midas touch in the tech world extends across multiple generations. Securing the number 8 spot on our list are two brothers, whose story perfectly illustrates what happens when old world fortune collides with a modern forward-thinking vision. We're talking about Ronnie and Gerald Chan. Although they inherited a colossal real estate dynasty based in Hong Kong, they refused to simply rest on their laurels. On the contrary, they leveraged their inheritance to forge a path of global influence, making significant inroads in American academia and the biotech sector. With their combined fortune estimated at approximately $2 billion, their journey truly begins with their father, the patriarch Chan Zeng-shi, founder of the Hang Lung Group. Beginning in 1960, Hang Lung blossomed into one of Hong Kong's most formidable property empires. But the two brothers were destined to follow a distinctly different trajectory. Having been educated in the United States, Ronnie secured an MBA from the University of Southern California, while Gerald achieved a doctorate from Harvard. This bicultural upbringing provided them with an unparalleled advantage, the capacity to seamlessly connect the worlds of Asian commerce and American technological innovation. While Ronnie took the helm of the family's real estate operations back in Hong Kong, the two brothers jointly launched their very own investment firm, known as the Morningside Group, in 1986. It was Gerald's profound scientific expertise that transformed it into a trailblazing biotech venture capital powerhouse, strategically financing startups that were developing truly groundbreaking medical treatments. Perhaps the most visible manifestation of their extensive influence is through their remarkable philanthropic efforts. In the year 2014, their foundation made a staggering donation of $350 million to the Harvard School of Public Health, which at that time represented the largest single gift the university had ever received in its entire history. To honor their father's legacy, the institution was subsequently renamed the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. The Chan brothers serve as a perfect modern example of a dynasty that grasps that true power isn't merely about owning physical buildings. Instead, it lies in financing the scientific discoveries that will ultimately define our future. They embody a unique bridge between the East and the West, between legacy and innovation. Next, at number 9, we encounter a family that perfectly encapsulates a very modern phenomenon. Immense fortunes forged in the crucible of China's tech boom that are now finding a new purpose and home in America. Let's meet Chen Tianqiao and his family. Theirs is a saga of digital conquest, profound personal reinvention, and an ambitious new mission to decode the very secrets of the human brain. Commanding a net worth estimated at around $1.1 billion, Chen's personal journey can only be described as extraordinary. Chen is a genuine trailblazer. Back in 1999, he, along with his family, launched a company called Shanda Interactive Entertainment. And with that move, he didn't just establish a successful company, he effectively gave birth to the entire online gaming industry in China. Shanda's premier game, titled Legend of Mir 2, exploded into a cultural phenomenon, attracting millions of devoted players and generating enormous profits. Moreover, Qin had perfected the freemium business model well before it was adopted as a global standard. This involved offering games for free while selling optional paid upgrades. During Shanda's zenith, Chen reigned as the unchallenged king of China's digital entertainment landscape. But then, in a decision that sent shockwaves through the entire business world, he simply walked away from it all. After delisting Shanda from the public market in 2012, he divested his gaming assets and relocated his family, along with his considerable fortune, initially to Singapore and then ultimately to a magnificent, sprawling estate in Newport Beach, California. So what prompted such an abrupt pivot? The reasons were profoundly personal. At the very pinnacle of his commercial success, Chen began experiencing debilitating panic attacks. This intense personal struggle sparked a completely new mission within him to comprehensively understand the human brain. In 2016, he and his wife, Chrissy, made an astonishing $115 million donation to the California Institute of Technology, which was used to establish the Tiankou and Chrissy Chen Institute for Neuroscience. Their stated objective is to finance cutting-edge research into the brain, specifically targeting conditions like anxiety, depression, and Alzheimer's disease, with the ultimate ambition of unlocking some of the most profound mysteries of humanity. And Chen's ambitions didn't stop there. He has discreetly become one of America's most significant foreign landowners, with his investment group purportedly purchasing almost 200,000 acres of timberland in Oregon for a sum of approximately $85 million back in 2015. The Chen family truly embodies a new paradigm of wealth, one that was forged in China, transferred to America, and is now being deployed to confront some of the greatest challenges facing all of humanity. Finally, rounding out our list is a name that has come to define the very ascent of Chinese-American success in the technology sector. We are referring to the family of the late great Charles B. Huang. Although he passed away in 2018, his enduring legacy and the corporate empire he constructed have undoubtedly paved the way for an entire generation of entrepreneurs to follow. His is a classic immigrant tale, a story that begins with turmoil and culminates in the creation of a software powerhouse. Huang was born in Shanghai in 1944, and his formative years, his world was turned upside down by the Chinese Civil War, forcing his family to seek refuge in Queens, New York, when he was only 8 years old. He shared the humble beginnings common to so many immigrants who arrive with little more than hope. Arriving without knowing a single word of English, he was compelled to adapt to a new world with remarkable speed. Yet simmering within him was a potent combination of sharp intellect, burning ambition, and an unstoppable drive to succeed. Upon graduating from Queen's College, Huang astutely identified the immense possibilities within the burgeoning computer technology sector. In the year 1976, equipped with nothing but a credit card and 3 partners, he audaciously established Computer Associates International. This venture was a daring plunge into completely uncharted waters, as the software industry was a fledgling field dominated by titans like IBM. However, Huang possessed a uniquely different vision. While his rivals were selling brand new programs, his focus was different. He concentrated on engineering software that enabled mainframe computers from competing companies to communicate with greater efficiency. This particular market was a narrow niche, yet it proved to be an extraordinarily profitable one. Huang quickly became notorious for his aggressive take-no-prisoners approach to business dealings. Through a campaign of ruthless acquisitions, he methodically absorbed his competitors, transforming Computer Associates into a formidable global powerhouse. By the 1990s, his company stood as one of the planet's largest independent software suppliers, and Charles Huang had ascended to the status of a billionaire. In a landmark achievement, he decisively shattered the bamboo ceiling in corporate America, emerging as one of the very first and most prominent Chinese-American tech CEOs. Yet Wang's influence extended far beyond the boardroom. He was also a deeply committed philanthropist and a foundational pillar of the Long Island community. In 2000, he purchased the floundering New York Islanders, a move that single-handedly saved the team from relocation. He also generously donated millions to Stony Brook University, which led to the founding of the Charles B. Huang Center, an institution dedicated to fostering greater understanding between Asian and American cultures. The Huang family fortune, forged through grit, foresight, and unyielding perseverance, represents a cornerstone chapter in the narrative of Chinese American achievement and prosperity. It stands as undeniable proof that a young immigrant from Queens could indeed leave an indelible mark on the world. From the earliest software trailblazers to the modern titans steering the AI revolution, these 10 dynasties reveal the true nature of profound ambition and far-reaching influence. Their sagas transcend mere financial success. They are epic tales of migration, extraordinary vision, and the construction of empires that span oceans. These powerful families are not merely a component of America's past. They are actively sculpting its very future. In our contemporary interconnected world, immense fortunes are no longer confined by geography. They stretch across continents and leave a global impact. If you found this deep dive into these phenomenal journeys compelling, please show your support by liking, sharing, and subscribing, and don't forget to hit that bell. You definitely will not want to miss our upcoming content. We appreciate you watching, and we'll see you in the next one.